Well, this is an interesting toy. First Light from PowerTac. They have been around for quite some time doing some research online. So this is the Warrior G4-FL and it's 4200 lumens. And if you look here, it's a flood beam, so it's not a spot beam, which is kind of interesting. Uh, so I'll be testing this out for a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks before you see the rest of this video. You guys can see some of the specs there. It has 214 meters of distance. IPX8 weatherproof rating, and there's some of the information there. On and off button, secondary mode button, direct to strobe function, 5 light modes plus strobe, and extremely durable. And one thing I'm going to mention is, yeah, this is pretty freaking heavy too. Let's just go over some more details. Ooh, it comes with some spare O-rings. I never yet had to use a spare O-ring. It comes with 18650 battery. That's pretty interesting. Standard battery, I like that. Turbo mode, 4200 lumens, high 1430. And optional accessories, I do not have any of these optional accessories other than the holster, which I'll show you guys in a few seconds. Magnetic charger and micro USB. Oh, I actually didn't notice that, but that's pretty sweet. It looks like the magnetic charger port just pops off and then you can charge it with standard micro USB. Too bad it's not USB-C, but micro is still pretty good. Okay, so here's some of the stuff it comes with here. Spare USB. Oh, that's a rubber if you want to just use the USB micro charging only and take off the magnetic charger, which I was just looking at that here. So it seems to be on there fairly tight. I'm not going to actually pull it off because I don't want a chance ripping the rubber, but you guys could see possibly underneath there. It's just standard USB. I'll turn on a light here. Maybe you guys can see in there. Standard, like I said, micro underneath there. So that's pretty sweet. I was actually originally thinking, well, that kind of sucks if you ever lose the cable, which is pretty interesting. It actually lights up here and tells you you're charging. So, and this is almost like a metal braid on here. It doesn't feel like plastic. It actually almost feels like real metal. It's probably just a chrome plated plastic, but I mean, it is pretty solid. No names on the cables or cable or anything, but again, it's pretty sweet. Seems kind of like a universal magnetic cell phone charging cable, you could say. Some of the cell phones you can get just USB adapters to charge it, so that's still pretty cool. Very strong magnet. You can see I can almost pick up the light with it. It also came with this holster here, which I have just put light in and out quite a few times. It's very tight, but not sure what this is exactly made out of, if it's plastic or if it's the same thing that some gun holsters are made out of. I'm going to guess so because it feels very stiff. Krydex, or I'm probably not saying that right. I'm not good at names. But again, that is very solid. I'll put the light in it real quick so you guys can see. I clipped it on my holster and or on my belt, I mean, and with that indent right there, the one right there, it makes it very, very tricky to get it off. Yeah, I had to take off my whole belt to get it off. So, which this here will just slip up. Again, chances of ever losing this off your belt, I'm going to say, is virtually impossible. Okay, so I shoved it in there, and I'm going to say it probably takes, probably 10 pounds of force almost to get it out of here. But that's because it's brand new. Once it goes in and out a couple dozen times, I am sure it's going to loosen up. Also comes with this guy here, which seems to be made pretty solid. If you want to wear it as a neck light. The little clip here. Again, myself, I won't use that. This holster, to be honest, I really don't know myself if I'll ever use this holster. It's hard to say. Might be something good to shove on my bug-out bag because it has such a tight retention. But at the same time, for most of the belts I wear, it just holds it a little too tight. Now I'm going to say one thing. This is designed for law enforcement, military, And that is why it has that style of a holster, because if you ever lose your light, you are in trouble. This here is the indicator light that when it's plugged in, it'll switch from red to blue as it's charging. Doesn't seem to have any lights that turn on that I have noticed when you're using a light. It is strictly for charging. You got your mode selector now that's at the back here, where if you press it, hold it down there so it doesn't give anyone, you know, it goes straight to strobe feature. You got your normal mode there. Turn it on and off. You could get tail switches. Here's the different modes here. And again, so far, this light, I haven't really tested it. Just played around with it yesterday night. And in about 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks, I'm going to do a full test video on it. And if I find anything I don't like, trust me, I'll mention it. So I'll just get a little bit of a up close here. Yes, it is made in China. Now, if you guys notice something about the made in China, can you guys see something about the made in China? That is very interesting. I like that. That is not engraved on the light. I really do like the fact that you can remove that, because I'm not a fan of advertising that. PowerTac, a light year ahead. PowerTac.com. Again, they contacted me to do this review. I guess that's the serial number TJ0084. And I kind of wish this tactical ring would have came with a smooth ring to put in place there. Same with the front bezel. But again, this is a tactical light. It's not meant to be something that's cozy to keep in your pocket for EDC. That's pretty interesting. You can almost, or I can see right into the light through that little window there. I'll pull out the battery and show you guys a little bit more about the inside in just a second here. Okay, so here's the battery that comes with it. I kind of would like to know exactly who makes this battery. You can definitely see that the original, well, in my opinion, the original wrapper has been removed. I see no signs of the old wrapper, but at the same time, you can kind of see how it heat shrank it on here. Sometimes I decide to pull off the wrap and actually find out who made the battery, if it's a Panasonic or Sony. But in this case here, with this company, I don't think I'll have to worry about that. I'll keep the original battery. So here's the tail switch here. There is no writing on it. Solder joints look to be nice. Threads seem to be pretty decent there. Definitely has the form of a lube on it. Spring is nice. The inside of it here, very nice machining. Is it painted? Yeah, it is galvanized or painted anyway. Powder coated possibly on the inside. It has a nice O-ring seal right here. I am not focusing worth a poop on those threads there. It's actually very interesting threads. They're not sharp. They're flat on the tip there. Huh. It's an interesting design, but looks good. I got a poo-poo sitting over here, kind of supervising and making a little bit of noise in the background, but and I got a couple other friends up in there, and one at the top there. You can't really see, I know. Yeah, we're still not going to see him, but Monarch in the making. Okay, so let's get back to this guy. So this guy here came off fairly simple. Again, it'd be nice if a smooth one came with it. But now that I see the fact that it comes off, what I'll normally do after the review is I'm actually going to take this to the bench grinder and I'm going to remove the tactical features off this, because I like to put them in my pocket and I hate having holes in my pocket. Again, if you want to use it as a form of a weapon, I would not recommend removing those, because those can do some pretty good damage. Well, that's pretty interesting. The whole reflector actually comes off, and it is made out of aluminum, which is a bonus. That is not made out of plastic. Well, it looks actually fairly interesting there. You can see some more of their lube that they have. That I'll normally change for a form of Arctic Silver, which is a CPU heatsink compound. And as for the rest of the light here, There is no markings on the emitter, but by looking at it with the 4 splits there, if I can really see there, can't really get in and focus there. This is going to be XHP 70. It's a Cree bulb. Well, bulb. LED. And again, you can see how thick the aluminum is around it there. And again, you can see these threads here. Super nice threads. I'll be cleaning that off and using a form of heat sink compound on there, which I just find helps spread the heat out a little bit more. But it also kind of causes your fingers to get a little toasty, but we'll see how hot this light's going to run. Okay, I had to put this in the video here. You guys see there's the pocket clip right there. And check this out. The pocket clip actually gets retained with this guy here. So that means that can be taken off. I'll tighten it a little bit up better after, but that's really cool. Check that out. It's actually stops it from ever popping off. I know some of my OLED lights, I have an issue with this always popping off. But normally not on the tactical models. I'm just going to show you this guy here as an example here. You guys can see what I mean by it popping off. This is well used. This is solid brass, and again, this is normally what I carry with me. I prefer something that's a little bit smooth. Now this again, I do love my tactical lights, but this is going to be more in the bug out bag kind of setup. Okay, so I just took a quick peek and the instruction manual, and there's no way to lock out this light. What I mean by locking it out is holding the button for 5 seconds. It doesn't seem to have one, which, to be honest, I love that feature. I do not like having to hold a button for 5 seconds to lock out a light. My light's on. I want to make sure it's not going to turn on in my pocket. Oh, had a little bit of power left. I do that. I unscrew it, because then you can screw it back on. It's good. Unscrew it. You know it's not going to turn on in your pocket. Good way to find out. Okay, as an example, is I used to carry a flashlight in my quad, and you know how many times that damn flashlight turned on and my battery was dead when I really needed it? Yeah. So, again, unscrew it, disconnects the contact points. I think that's still the best way to go. Of course, make sure the light is off with the switch too. And again, you guys can see there, it's kind of interesting setup. It almost looks vented around that switch there. I'm not too sure, but it is a very cool setup. Having a button over here on the tail switch, for me, is a little bit weird. I would prefer to see one here, where that indicator light is. But at the same time, I know I will get used to that. It's just going to be a little bit of time. The reason why it's back there, in my opinion, is because you can get a gun mount for it and a remote pressure switch. So that's why, in my opinion, it has it on the back. Oh, it actually does say here XHP 70. Yep, okay, that shows you for sure what it is. Well, the rest of this video now is going to come out in a few weeks when I go and do some testing. And there's a good beam shot. That is picking it up pretty good here. It's out here. A little squishy. We just got a good rainstorm here, but there you guys go. You guys want to see a little bit of a beam shot? Go back to the trail here. Yeah, she is a bright one, that's for sure. Let's try some different molds here. I find the mold selector is a little tricky to find, but it's just because I'm not used to it yet, even though I've been testing this light for over a month. Okay, that's low, right up to high, so let's try switching some different molds, one at a time instead of triple tapping there. Double tap, I don't know if double tap brings you, okay, let's try it low. Press and hold is strobe. Ooh, that's a little bright. That one kind of gives you a headache. Okay, but yeah, she's good. It's designed to be a little bit of a tack light, of course. Get some information there. I do not have my phone light on, so it's the PowerTac, and this is the model Warrior G4-FL, and I'm being attacked by moths. But yeah, that is pretty bright. Okay, so I've been running her now for about 10 minutes, and it's a little bit hard to videotape today because it's a little bit foggy still from it raining, but the old trick here. And she's a little bit warm, but it's not bad whatsoever. It actually seems to be pretty cool to the touch. Now, it's been on now for quite some time, and ooh, that's not a good one. Let's just double check that it didn't dim down much. Let me refocus here. No, I don't think so. I think it stayed on the highest setting, which is pretty good. But yeah, so far, again, I've been using this guy for a couple weeks now, and she is awesome. Just at a 4-way stop crossroad here. That's where I just decided to come and do a beam shot. I was going to go into the pit, but decided not to. Maybe I'll get some more footage over in the next couple weeks that I own this guy, and we'll go from there. So far, it has been awesome. And it comes with a pretty sweet holster too that has to make it into the video.